Hi guys, welcome back to my studio. It's been a while since I publish any other new topic about the bicycle equipment or bicycle itself, and today I decided, because I had a lot of questions from the people and also a lot of strange views about how come that the full carbon fork is basically not the stiffest one and the most reliable among all the forks. Well, primarily we need to discuss something about the stiffness. In fundamentals you can find that stiffness basically is going in two ways. One is torsional stiffness and another one is longitudinal stiffness. And on each stiffness, different characteristic or physical property influence on the material. I mean on the product itself. I'm gonna say full carbon fork. It's good for climbing. It's light. It's very responsive. But about the safety, I'm not gonna say it's very safe, especially if you're using it for a long period of time, let's say 20-30,000 kilometers. There could be some issues, especially on the steering tube. Why is that? Well, people don't understand that all the carbon products have one big trouble with the aging. I'm not saying that the fiber itself is aging, but the epoxy glue, the resin, with aging start to be more and more elastic. And eventually, why the carbon fork or something basically cracks? Carbon itself doesn't allow any deflection at all, which actually is allowing that the carbon flex more is only the resin, actually the glue, which holds in which play a role of being a support for the carbon. So everybody knows that even metal, even any kind of composite materials, they're aging. But the problem is with all the plastic materials, the aging is causing losing the performance and losing the physical properties from the start it's built. In another case, if we take a look, for instance, the steel steering tube or aluminum, all the metals, when they're aging, they're not getting weaker and weaker and more elastic, but it's more like hardening. So older the frame is, better it is, until it reaches its own limit of plastic deformation, and eventually it can crack as well. But for general purpose, the stiffness you can measure very simple way. You don't need to be scientist, you don't need to be highly educated. You just take the fork or the frame, the rear triangle, put some weight. When the fork is new, you can make the simple test. You place the heavy weight on the fork, and then you measure with the, of course, more accurate scale, deflection. There's my guarantee that after 5,000, 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers and using the bike in any kind of environment, you will find out that this deflection basically becomes higher and higher and higher, which doesn't mean that the carbon fiber is softening, but something else is softening, and that's called aging of the epoxy glue or the resin. All the manufacturers of the carbon bikes and carbon frames, they realize it. But because there is a huge marketing going on behind in the backstage, No one will not advertise that the bike frame, which is full carbon, is losing its physical properties while it's getting older and older. But that's the fact. Including this, I would say I rather have aluminum steering tube just because of safety, and it's more stiff. Basically, it's more stiff. Some people using even the stem from carbon fiber, even the handlebar, but believe me, no one on this planet will say that the carbon handlebar or stem is more stiff than any kind of alloy or titanium or steel product. The only major point in here is that everybody's striving to have lighter and lighter and lighter bikes. But I would say these are safety issues. Especially, I would recommend to all the producers who are producing the full carbon fork that in here, in this tube, would have some reinforcement, maybe some spider-shaped insert through entire length, which can prevent when something snap off the handlebar. I had seen a lot of accidents on downhill, not in the forest but on the road, when the handlebar just snapped it off, and the consequences were severe. With that kind of insert, they could save a lot of problems to the customers. Of course, if you're using full carbon fork like this one, it's recommended that every month or at least every 2 weeks, if you really train hard doing some serious sprints or whatever, that you check, you put it out and you check if there is any crack. Another thing is, a lot of forks on outer side, they look very nice, but if you cut and then you see the inside, you can find out there is a lot of bubbles, and those bubbles is actually like missing structure or missing component which holds the structure of the carbon. So it's not so stiff basically. But of course, you as a customer get the fork like this, you just see the outer look and you're very, very fast, quite satisfied. And I'm gonna say, even for the carbon frames, they are dangerous. They are dangerous and they are flexing more than people would imagine. What people feel with the carbon frame, because everybody's talking about the stiffness, but let's say that's relative stiffness. That means how much stiff the frame is based on its own weight. But no one in cycling, as me, as mechanical engineer, I don't want to hear any data about what relative stiffness. I want to know what's the absolute stiffness. I will take it, the one which is under load. The most stiff, that means it will flex at least. But all the marketing background is so strong that makes people and the customers blind. But everybody is realizing it, that carbon frame, it is dangerous. Especially if you're not, how to say, well aware about maintenance of the bike, that you don't put much attention what joints and what areas you should supposed to take a look. But like I said, the most stiffest steering tube is from steel. That's why a majority of mountain bikes uses steel steering tube. Another lighter version is of course aluminum, but aluminum have, I would say, some issues while you build in the ahead star for holding the position of the steering bearings. It can start sliding out because aluminum also it's deflecting and it's soft.